In this session, let's look at the architecture of Linux. The Linux operating system consists of three main components: kernel, shell, Linux utilities and application programs. The kernel is the core of the Linux operating system and controls the resources of the computer. It interacts directly with the hardware. The shell is the user interface and provides services that user wants. The example of shells is sh, bash, or csh. The Linux utilities are a collection of programs that service day-to-day processing requirements of users like ls, cp, grep, bc, or wc. Application programs can be something like a compiler, example gcc, g++, or a programming language like PHP. It can be a database like MySQL or a web server like Apache. There are different Linux distributions that use the same Linux kernel. These distributions add their own utilities and application. Generally, they add on how to install these utilities and are packaged together. Some of the popular distributions of Linux are Red Hat, Fedora, CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian, OpenSUSE, and Linux Mint. A sample Linux file hierarchical structure is displayed. In this structure, you can see the bin, boot, home, etc, user, and dev folders under the root folder. Each of these have specific purpose. The bin contains different applications like cat, ls, cp, chmod. The boot folder contains files required for booting. Home folder contains users' home directories, for example, Michelle, user3, Tom. These are different users of the system and their directories or the folders are located under the home directory. etc is another folder, very important folder, which contains a lot of configuration files. User is another important folder which contains application data and documentation, and dev folder contains various device driver files. The current working directory is the directory in which you are currently located. You can use the pwd command to check what is your current working directory. When referring to a file, instead of specifying the full path of the file, you can also specify the path in relation to your current directory. For example, there is a folder structure which you can see over here where there is a file called September 2010. This file is present under /home/steve/baseball folder. So the complete path of this folder is /home/steve/baseball/September 2010. However, if you are presently in the Steve folder, you can say ./baseball/September 2010. That means you are referring it in relation to your current directory. If you are in baseball directory, you don't need to give the complete path. You can directly access the September 2010 file because it is present in that folder itself. The LAMP stack consists of Linux operating system, the Apache Web server, MySQL database, and the PHP language. Now you will see how to install the Linux operating system. To start the installation, double-click on the VMware Workstation Pro icon. Currently, it is showing an existing virtual machine. I will close this existing virtual machine and change the view to full screen by clicking on the View Full Screen option. Now I will create a new virtual machine. To do that, I will click on the File, New Virtual Machine option. The new virtual machine wizard is displayed. Select the typical option and click Next. Select the Installer Disk Image option and then browse to the location where the installer image is present. In my case, I have downloaded and kept the ISO in my C drive. ISO folder. So I am selecting this file Fedora server DVD. Click Next. Enter the full name that you want to give to this image. In this case, I have given the name as Fedora22, username as user1. I enter the password. Then I have to reconfirm the password and then click on Next button. Now it is asking to enter the virtual machine name and the location where the virtual machine will be created. Fedora 64-bit is fine with me right now, and the location is also the default location, which is fine. Then click on Next. Specify disk capacity option is displayed. Leave it as default 20 GB. Then select Split virtual disk into multiple files option and then click on the Next button. Next, you need to customize the hardware. Click on the Customize Hardware option. I will just increase the memory from 1024 to 2048 and click Close and then click on Finish. You can see that currently power on this virtual machine after creation checkbox is selected. Let it be selected and then click on Finish and the installation will start. I will change the view to console view so that you can see the installation happening. The installation starts and all the different packages on the Fedora server will be installed onto the virtual machine. Once the packages are installed, the virtual machine will restart with the Linux operating system loaded. You will get the login prompt where you can log in. Currently, I will log in as the root user. We had also created a user called user1 and we will give him permissions using the command usermod -ag wheel user1. This will grant user1 permissions to use the sudo command, which is used to run the superuser commands as a normal user. Sudo command is used to run commands as root user. Now I will log out from here and log in as user1. Let's see if sudo command works. Yes, they are working. Let us now see how to work on the Linux command line. Once we log in, we are at the dollar prompt, or it may become a hash prompt in case you log in as a root user. In this example, I have logged in as user1. When I give the command pwd, it gives me the output /home/user1, which is my home directory. You can use the cd command to change the working directory. For example, if you give cd space and \, you go to the root directory. In case you type cd/home, you move to the home directory. The cat command is used to join, create, or view files. For example, we can create a file using the cat command. I will first go to my home directory, which is /home/user1. Here, I will create a new file called myfile using the cat command. That I can do by giving cat > myfile. I will enter its content as this is my first file. I press Ctrl D to stop this command. Now if I give the ls command, I can see this my file has got created. Similarly, I can say cat > my second file. I'll type its content as this is my second file and press Ctrl and D. Now if I give the ls command, I can see the two files are created. If I say cat my file, it will show the first file content, and if I say cat my second file, the second file contents are displayed. I can use the cat command now to join these two files together. This I can do by typing the command cat my file space my second file greater than final file. The greater than symbol is the output redirection symbol. Here, the contents of my file and my second file will be combined into the final file. Now, if I say ls, I can see three files are present. And when I say cat my final file, I can see this is my first file, this is my second file. The two contents are now combined together and are now present in my final file. You can use the ls command with the -l option to view the long listing of the files. For example, when I say ls-l, it shows me the three files which are there in my home directory, and it has shown me the permission. It has rw-r and its user and group and the size and the date it was created. All the details of these files are being displayed using the -l command. Now this -l command can also be combined with the R command to recursively show the contents of a folder. For example, I can say ls-l capital R and say /etc folder. This will show you the content of the etc file recursively. When we gave that command, the files and the folders present under the etc folder are all displayed recursively. Let me clear the screen using the clear command. You can use the mkdir command to create a new directory. Here, let's say I say mkdir sample, enter, and now a new folder called sample has got created. I can say ls-l and I can view the listing and it shows me a sample folder. I can change to this sample folder using the cd command and I can say cd sample. Now if I say ls, currently it doesn't have any files, therefore it doesn't display anything. However, if I want, I can create a file, let's say my third file. This is my third file. Press Ctrl and D simultaneously. And now when I say ls, it shows me this folder has one file called my third file. In Linux, we can send the output of one command as the input to another command using pipes. For example, when I say cat /etc/autofs.conf, this will display the contents of autofs.conf file. However, as this file is a long file, its contents are scrolling above the screen. Let me just clear the screen. I can say cat etc/autofs.conf pipe to less. Now here the first screen is displayed and now it is waiting for me to press spacebar to go to the next page and so on. So it's showing me page by page the contents of the file and I can press Q to quit. Similarly, I can use the pipe command with my ls command. For example, earlier I had given ls-lr/etc. However, its content had scrolled up. I can either pipe it to less command, and once it has shown me one page, it's waiting, and then I can press by spacebar, and then I can see page by page. I can move down and see the various files and folders present under the etc folder. And I can press Q and quit from there. In Linux, represents the current directory, dot dot represents the parent directory, and a tilde symbol represents the home directory. Now let's look at how it works. So if I type ls dot dot, it will show me the contents of the parent directory of the sample folder. This is showing the content of the parent directory. Similarly, if I type in cd/etc, now my current working directory is the etc folder. I can say ls and the tilde sign to show the contents of the home directory. I can even go back to my home directory by pressing cd and tilde symbol. You can copy a file from one folder to another. For example, using the cp command, you can specify the source file and the destination. For example, if I say /etc/password and the destination I give as /home/user1, this will copy the password file from etc folder to the /home/user1 folder. Let me say ls. Now you can see a passwd file has got copied into my home directory. I can also use the mv command to move a file. For example, I can move this file from this current location to the sample folder. For example, I can say mv. I don't need to give the complete path because this file is present in my current folder itself. And I can say ./sample. This dot represents the current folder and I'm saying move it to the sample folder. I press enter, and now when I say ls, this file has got removed from my home directory, and if I say ls sample, now the sample folder has got this password file. I can also rename the file using the mv command. For example, if I say mv./sample/password to ./sample my password, this will rename the passwd file present under the sample folder to my password file. Now when I say ls sample, you can see my password file instead of the passwd file. Lastly, let's look at how to remove a file in a folder. For example, currently I have a folder called sample and few files called final file, my second file. So to remove a particular file, I can say rm my file. And now if I press ls, that file has got removed. There is no success message displayed once that is done. I'll do it again. Let's say I'll say rm final file. Again, coming back to the $prompt means that the command executed successfully. I can say rm-i my second file. Now it will ask me for confirmation. Are you sure you want to remove the regular file? I can press Y and this will remove the second file as well. Let me clear the screen. Now let's look at how to remove a folder. For example, currently I have a folder called sample. I can say rmdir sample. Now it gives me an error, failed to remove sample directory because it's not empty. It has some files present in it. Let's say ls sample, and it has got two files which are present in it. I can firstly remove these files and then remove the folder, or alternately I can say rm-r sample. This will recursively remove the sample folder and all the files present under it. Press enter, and now let's say ls. Now you can see there is no file or folder present in my home directory. Let's look at editing a document using the VI editor, which is available on most Linux systems. VI is short for Visual Editor. Let's see how to open a new file, type some lines, and then save and close the file. To open a new file called mytestfile.html, type vi mytestfile.html. Press enter. On screen you will see blank lines, each with a tilde sign at the left and a line at the bottom giving the name of the file and status new file. VI has two modes, command mode and insert mode. In command mode, letters of the keyboard perform editing functions like moving the cursor, deleting text, etc. To enter command mode, you generally press escape. You will hear a bell sound to indicate you are in command mode. In insert mode, the letters you type form words and sentences. Unlike many word processors, VI starts up in command mode. In order to begin entering text in this empty file, you must change from command mode to insert mode. To do this, type I. Notice that at the bottom of the screen, you can see insert written. That means now you're in the insert mode. Now you can enter the text. For example, I'm typing in a small HTML text. Now I have typed in a little bit of text, that means 4 lines. To save, I can press escape and :W. This will write this text into the file. Now I can even quit from VI editor by pressing :Q. I can have even done :WQ to save and quit at the same time. So I have quit. Now we can use the cat command and see whether this file is created. It is there. Now I can go back to my VI editor and continue editing this file. Now I will add on some more lines at the end of this document. So to do that, I have moved my cursor to the last line. I can press O to start adding at the next line. So I will continue typing body. This is sample text. This is Notice that I have gone back to command mode by pressing escape key. Now I can move my cursor using the keys H for left one space, J for down one line, K for up one line, and L right one space. Or I can use the arrow keys. Now if I want, I can even edit this document. For example, I can delete a character. Let's say I want to delete one character from here. I can press X in the command mode. By pressing escape, make sure you are in command mode. Press X and it will delete one character. Here I am deleting an extra tree. I can delete a line. For example, if I want to delete a blank line, I can press DD. So this will delete the line. Supposing I wanted to delete this line as well, I will press DD. This has deleted this particular line. I can undelete or I can undo a particular command by pressing U. So this command is used to undo a particular operation. I can even replace a particular character with another. For example, if I wanted to change the small a to capital A, I can press R and I can change it to capital A. I can search for a particular text by pressing slash and body. Supposing I'm searching for body word, so it is going to the word body. I can press slash again, so it is going to the place where body is found. Let's save and quit from this file by pressing escape :WQ. Now let's set colors and line numbers to this file. The VI is minimal installed in case of Fedora. Vim needs to be installed. To install, enter the command dnf install vim. So it has found some enhanced version, file system, common and lib files. Press Y. Now it will download the packages and install them depending upon the speed of your network. The complete message shows that the Vim is now installed. Once Vim is installed, let's open a .bashrc file and add an alias so that Vim is opened when VI is invoked. To do that, open .bashrc by typing vi.bashrc. In this, add another alias. In this add alias, vi is equal to vim. Save and quit by pressing :WQ. I can either log out or log in again or reload bashrc by typing command source //.bashrc. Now changes of the bash rc file are in effect. Now let's see the file vi my test file. Now we can change the color of the screen. You can type color, press tab, so we can see blue, and we can see that the color of the screen becomes blue. Let's say color. I can press tab again and I can get some default, or I can again say color, let's say desert. So by choosing different colors, I can set different colors. I can also say set numbers. So now the line numbers are also getting displayed on this text. I can say syntax off. So now you can see that the color has disappeared. I can either say syntax on and the color comes back on. Let me just say syntax off and let me quit. Now let me open this file again. The line number is no longer appearing on the document. Now if I wanted to make these changes, that means to have line numbers and color scheme permanent, I have to enter this in a file. If I just type in over here set nu, next time when I open this file the numbers may not be there. So I will quit from here. I will open a file called vi vimrc. In the file .vimrc, I enter the commands color desert, syntax on and set number and save and quit. This has to be in the root folder of the user which you have logged in as. So now if I open my file, I can see that the color scheme and the numbering is present in this file. I can of course remove the numbering by saying set no number. Save and quit. Hi, let's look at some network related commands in Linux. The ifconfig command gives the IP address information of my interface. Here, this is my interface giving me the IP address 192.168.232.135. The ifconfig or the interface configurator command is used to initialize an interface, assign an IP address to the interface, and enable or disable the interface on demand. With this command, you can view the IP address, hardware, or MAC address assigned to the interface. The configuration file for this command is stored in etc sysconfig network scripts folder. I will just change to that folder. I press enter. Now I am in the network scripts folder. When I press ls, I can see the ifcfg and the interface number file which is used to configure it. Let's see its content. I'll clear the screen and cat command to display its content. So you can see over here its content has a line called brute protocol equal to DHCP. So what this tells the system is that when the system is booting up, use the DHCP option to assign the IP address to this interface. Let me clear the screen. The other command which is important for networking is the root command. You can use the root command to see the information of your routing table. You can use the root-n option to see the IP addresses assigned. For example, the gateway address is 192.168.232.2. Let me just clear the screen. To know the status of the network, you can say system control status network.service. This gives the status of the current networking. You can also give over here stop or start command to stop or start the network service, or you can give restart to restart the network service. So once the network service is restarted, you can check the status. Let me clear the screen. Alternatively, you can also give if down interface number to stop the interface, or you can give if up command and bring up the interface. Currently I'm not executing these commands. I am going to use the ifconfig command to assign another IP address to the interface. The command is ifconfig the interface name :0. The new IP address, in this case it's 192.168.232.160. The net mask 255.255.255.0. When I press enter, now if I say ifconfig, you can see that earlier this interface had the IP address ending with 135. And now it has all got one more IP address ending with 160. I can go to my Windows command prompt and try to check whether I am able to access this system using the new IP address. I will use the ping command 192.168.232.160, and I am getting the reply from this IP address. I am also going to get the reply from the earlier IP address, which was 135. So now the system has got two IP addresses. Let's assign one more IP address. Going back to Linux, I will just go back to my command. Let's say I give 161, and also I will have to change over here :1. So I have given it three IP addresses. Now if I clear the screen and say ifconfig, you can see that the same interface has got three IP addresses, one ending with 135, secondly ending with 160, and third IP address ending with 161. Let me clear the screen. Another important command is dig command. You can say dig google.com and it will get the address information where this name corresponds to. In this case, this is the IP address assigned to google.com. Similarly, you can also use nslookup. In this again, you can say www.google.com and it will return the IP address of that domain name. So I quit from the nslookup. Let me clear the screen. Another important command or another file which is very important is /etc resolve.conf. This particular command has a line called name server, which helps translate the name to the IP address. It stores the IP address of the DNS server. Before the DNS servers were used, the networks used to use something called host files. So the host files used to have a lot of entries in which the domain names used to be mapped to the IP addresses. However, they had to be manually updated. However, now the DNS servers manage the translation between the domain names and IP addresses. Hi, in this session, let's see how to install the Apache Web Server used in the LAMP stack. The Apache HTTP Server project is an open source HTTP server for modern operating systems like Linux. To install the Apache Web Server, you need to give the following command: sudo dnf install httpd. It will check the repository for the dependent files and install them. Press Y and the downloading of the packages will start. Once the packages are downloaded, they will be installed and you will see a complete message. Let me clear the screen. Now, to have the server start at each boot, you need to give the command sudo system control enable httpd.service. So now whenever the system starts, your Apache Web Server will also start. To start the Apache server right now, you need to give the command sudo system control start httpd service. Now, if you browse the server by giving HTTP localhost, you will get the default page. However, this page will not be visible to other systems in the network as it is being blocked by the firewall. To enable the firewall to allow other systems to be able to see its web page, you need to give the command sudo firewall cmd permanent. Permanent option will enable that these options remain permanent even when the system restarts. Service equal to HTTP. So this will enable the HTTP protocol. Similarly, you can give the HTTPS option so that the secured connections are also enabled. Now, if we go to another system and use the browser and view the web page, to open the firewall right now, you can give the command sudo firewall cmd --ads -service http and similarly https. Now if you use a browser to browse this site, you see the Fedora test page. This is the default test page of Apache Web Server. This will be displayed if none of your default page is available. We will create a default page and then display it on the browser. To create a default web page, you need to change to var www html folder. In this folder, create a index.html file. Open any editor and type in the HTML text which you want to display in the web browser. In this case, I have entered welcome to the test page. Save and quit the file. Now, if you open the web browser, you should be able to see this web page. Now, when I refresh my browser and enter the IP address, I can see my test page getting displayed. Apache Server can be used to hold multiple sites. Let us configure the web server by modifying the configuration file. Once the changes in the configuration file have been done, we will restart Apache and verify that the changes have been made. To start, first let us give two more addresses to this server using the ifconfig command. Here I am giving the ifconfig command with eno:0 to point to the IP address which ends with .140. Now I will modify this command again with :1 and give the IP address as 150. Here, now I am giving the next command to give the IP address ending with 150. Now let's see whether these changes have been done. Here, now I can see this IP address 192.168.232.135 assigned to this interface. Then another interface :0 has the IP address ending with 140. Another interface ending with :1 is having an IP address 150. Now why are we doing this? We are doing this so that we can configure IP-based virtual hosting. In case of IP-based virtual hosting, it's a method to apply different directives based on the IP address and port number a request is received on. Most commonly, this is used to serve different websites on different ports or interfaces. Now the next step will be to modify the Apache Web Server configuration file, which is the httpd.conf. Let me clear the screen and now open the Apache configuration file. So I give the command vi etc httpd.conf command to open the configuration file. Next, I need to search for the listen directive. So I press /listen. It takes me to line number 34, so I just move down. Here, the listen directive is entered. I will add two more lines over here so that it listens to the new IP addresses I have assigned. Here, I have entered two listen directives. First one is to listen on IP address 140 and second is to listen on IP address 150 port 80. Now I'll go to the end of the file by pressing $$ in the command mode. Now I am at the end of this file. Here I need to add on some virtual host directives. So I will go back to the insert mode by pressing O, and over here I will enter virtual host directive. The virtual host directive I have entered over here specifies that for the IP address ending with 140, the document root is var www.abc and is for the abc.com domain which I have. The error log specifies the path of the error file. In case that file is not located on the server, it should search under the logs folder for the abc.com. Similarly, custom log file is for the success. In case it is able to locate the file, it will search in this log file, access.log. Similarly, for the 150 IP address, I have specified document root as var www.xyz. Error log specifies the path for the log file error log. Custom log specifies the log file access log. Next, I need to save this file. So I press escape:\wq. Next, let us create some sample HTML files in var www.abc folder and var www.xyz folder. So let's move to /var www.abc folder. This folder doesn't exist, so we'll go to var www and we'll make a folder called abc. Next, we move to this abc folder, and in this we'll create our index.html file. Here I have typed in the contents of index.html for abc.com. I save and quit. Next, I go back to its parent directory and make a directory called xyz. Next, we move to xyz folder and create another index.html here. Here I have typed in the content for index.html for xyz.com, which says this is a sample file for xyz.com. I save and quit from here. Now let us restart Apache Web Server using the command system control restart httpd.service. Oh, it gives an error. Let's see what this error is by giving a command journal ctl-xe for details. Let's study this error. The error says over here, no such file or directory, cannot access var log xyz.com. We had specified these two folders to hold our log files, var log abc.com and var log xyz.com. However, we did not create these folders. So now let us create these folders and then try to restart Apache. Let me clear the screen. Let's move to /var log folder. Here we haven't got a file or a folder called abc.com or xyz.com. So we'll say mkdir abc.com, mkdir xyz.com. Now when I say ls, this abc.com and xyz.com, two folders have been created. Now let us restart Apache. Sorry, I mistyped the command. System control restart httpd.service. So now Apache has restarted. Now if I go to my browser, by typing in the IP address, which is the default IP address, I get welcome to this test page. Now let me give the other IP address 192.168.232.140 and see what page is displayed. So this displays the sample site for abc.com. Similarly, if I go to the next site and enter 150, here it is showing me the sample site for xyz.com, which shows that the same Apache web server is now hosting these three sites. One is the default site, this is the site for abc.com, and this is the site for xyz.com.